If you don't have nightmares, children, you drink water and sleep through the night, you will probably love this. Hey guys, it's me, Sam, here today, and we're gonna just do a full face of drugstore makeup. It's gonna be a chatty get ready with me. We have some like newer products and some like new-ish products. So if you're interested in that, continue watching. If you're new to my channel, my name is Sam and makeup is my therapy. If you feel the same way, be sure to hit the subscribe button to come back and see more content with me. Today's gonna be very venti. We're gonna talk about hawk attacks and meetings with the principal and just kind of decompressing from the last 2 weeks because it's been a very stressful 2022 so far. I do also want to note that I have bunnies running around my bedroom today, so if you hear them, that is what's going on. I think I want to start with my eyes today, which is not my normal routine, but I'm feeling like I need to like switch it up and reboot some of creativity. So we're just gonna prime the eyes, and I'm gonna use my Milani eyeshadow primer. I use this the most, although I've been trying to make use of the other eyeshadow primers that I have. They're not like bad, this is just like very reliable product. Like you're always gonna know what you're gonna get. And you know what, I'm just gonna prime the skin too, because I figured then it could just sit and kind of do its thing while we do our eyes. So I'm going to be using the Revlon Prime Plus brightening skin tone evening makeup skincare primer. I got this a while ago and I like totally forgot that I had it. It's supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be like a dupe for that Ulla Henriksen that went like viral when it first came out, that orange one, because it has the citrus smell and like that orangey color, like yellowy. So let's go in with eyeshadow. I got this all amethyst palette. It's a ColourPop palette. This is what she looks like. I also got a couple other ColourPop ones, but I posted something on my Instagram and this was the one that everybody was most interested in seeing, so that is why we are playing with her today. Yeah, so I was really excited for the new year. I was like, this is gonna be my year. I'm gonna be more consistent. The shade is Brilliant, and the next shade is High Grade. I was like, you know, things are just gonna go so well. My little one had a tough year last year with like injuries and stuff, so what's that? Trigonal. And yeah, the new year has been kind of a shit show. I started off the year with my period, which, you know, I'm 37 years old. If there's one thing I'm looking forward to with old age is not having that anymore. Sunbird, this or that. These are the worst swatches of all time. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so I was like, that's not a big deal. I don't go out, I don't do anything, but like, I'm just so over that. This is Amulet, Crystal Craze, and Royal Affair. So there we go. Yeah, so I was like, okay, whatever. I don't go out anywhere. Like, it's not the biggest deal, but it is kind of just like, it's the worst. It really is the worst. Just being a female and having that. And I really shouldn't complain because I only get it for like 3 days. But like, I hate it. So then the following week, so I'm like, I have my period, the kids are home from school for the week, school break or whatever, and I'm like, it's just straight chaos in our house because it's cold. These kids nowadays don't like playing outside, not even when it's summertime. They just want to be on the computer, on YouTube or whatever, watching TV. Like, I have to beg them to go outside. And like the winter, it just makes it worse. I think I'm gonna mix Feb's Gen and this or that because I just feel like I want that gray, but I just don't want it to be too dark. So it was a crazy week, just keeping the kids entertained. I was grumpy, I was PMSing, and I just didn't want to, I wanted them to go back to school and just go back to like the normal schedule. I was like over the holidays. And finally, okay, the next week rolls around. I'm like, okay, the kids are gonna go to school. No, we get snow. No, we don't get snow. It's like below 20-degree weather. So when you live in New England, you know, you don't want the kids standing at the bus stop when it's cold like that. So they cancel school. So I'm like, okay, another day with the kids. We'll keep them home. And we have chickens. And the chickens were cold, but they don't stay in their run. I don't understand it. My husband built them like a mansion of a run. It's like 10 by 10 feet and it's enormous. And they still went outside of the run, and then we're trying to come inside my house. And I have a very tiny house. It's only like 1,200 square feet for 5 humans, 2 dogs, and 2 bunnies, and then not including the 6 chickens. But I let them in the house because I feel bad. It's cold and whatever. My husband's like, okay, we'll just keep them in the house overnight. My house is not chicken proof. So it wasn't easy keeping them in the house. We put them in the basement. This is not very pigmented. Let me just use just this or that without mixing it. So yeah, we end up keeping the chickens in the house overnight. We put them in the basement because I'm like, I'm not picking up chicken poop all over the living room. We put tarp down in the basement, put them in a little pen, and kept them in there for the night. And so the next day comes, I'm like, okay, they need to go outside. Like, they need to go back in their little home. We're going back into Feb's gym. And my husband goes down to the basement and he lets them outside. And literally within 10 minutes of them being outside, a hawk comes and swoops down and claws into one of the chickens' neck and flies away because the chicken's too big for the hawk to even like take with it. So there's our bird with his head literally, it's like nearly headless Ned from Harry Potter. He's like hanging on by a tendon and there's blood everywhere on snow. My husband's like, holy shit. And these are pets. They're not like, we don't keep chickens so that we can eat them. Like, these are our pets. So the kids are at school. They don't know that this is going on because this is the day after the school was canceled. So they're back at school. So we're like, oh my goodness, my husband cleans up the mess before the kids can get home. And of course, like the first thing my 6-year-old says when she comes in the door is, I'm going to check on the chickens. And we're like, oh no, they're not in the basement. They're outside in their run now. So she's like, okay, I'm going to get my coat on and go out to the run and check on the chickens. I'm going to go into this shade here, Royal Affair. So we're like, okay, we got to tell her because the chickens, you know, we have 3 black ones and we have 2 white ones and a gray one. And when we got the chickens, the kids were like, this one's mine, that one's mine, blah, blah, blah. So the one that got murked was her chicken. And we're like, it was one of the white ones. So we're like, well, maybe we can trick her and make her think it was the other white bird. But this girl is smart. She is not stupid. And she's like, well, she memorized all of the chicken's bracelets and she knew which bird was hers. And we had to tell her. And this girl had the biggest tantrum. She was screaming bloody murder, saying like, I hate all hogs. I never want to have chickens anymore. My son was like trying to go up and comfort her and she's like, get out. I want to be alone. Just screaming at everybody, wailing as loud as she can. Like, no, none of us can console her. I'm like, it was a fucking nightmare. So we're like, okay, that happened. My husband's like promised her like, oh, we're gonna get you a new chicken. It's not easy to get chickens in the winter, but my husband happened to find that they were having like, I didn't even know this was a thing, like a chicken Congress is what they call it. It's like a chicken show where you can like win prizes for your chicken, and you can buy chickens at the show. So my husband goes and he picks out a chicken and he takes it home, and my daughter names it. We're like, crisis averted, we can move on with our lives. I'm gonna use Amulet, and we're like, great, we have a new chicken, it's a new week, it was MLK week, so we're weekend, so we're like, okay, we have the long weekend to get the new chicken acclimated to the other birds and all this nonsense. And the kids go back to school on fucking Tuesday, and the school tests my daughter because there's a kid in the class that was positive over the weekend. So sure as shit, she tests positive. So does like half her class. She's in kindergarten, so I mean, like, these kids have a hard time keeping their mask on all day. Like, it's to kind of be expected. But then, so we're like, go pick her up. My other son, who's in the same school, gets tested. He's negative. So we're like trying to determine, like, what do we do? Like, what do we do? Do we keep keep her quarantine? Do we just like all get it over with? Like, what is it that we're gonna do? I'm gonna be really predictable and just take sunburn in my inner corner. My oldest goes to a different school and she's vaccinated. So they're like, as long as she's negative and she's vaccinated, she can go to school and she can see her friends and do all her normal things. She doesn't have to worry about like missing classwork and all this stuff. So we're like, okay, the girls share a room. We're going to split them up. One, you know, the big one's going to sleep in my room. We'll keep the little one quarantined, which was like so hard because we're like, okay, now we're going to isolate a 6-year-old to herself. But she had her TV. Like, the girl loved it. She was like, we were her butlers, you know, bringing her food, picking up her food, bringing her whatever the hell she wanted. She got to watch TV all fucking day. Was calling us on her tablet, like video calling us on her tablet to tell us her demands, like whatever. So, but it was very stressful because I had the big one sleeping in my room, complaining that, you know, she had things in the room that she needed and she couldn't go get it, and nonsense. Not nonsense, but, you know, just things to make it more stressful that's not important. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's more important that everybody's feeling good. So we're like testing everybody in the house, the big one daily for school. And then we tested the rest of us like kind of periodically to see if we like all stayed negative or whatever. Because my husband and I would still like put our mask on and then go and like hang out with her for a little bit so she wouldn't be completely lonely in her room, the little one. So we're just like making sure that, you know, we're not somehow getting it from doing that. And finally we like survived the week. We're like, yes, the kids can go to school. It's been the longest week ever. They just had like freaking school break. And they just went back to school. Like, they had only been in school for a week. So we're like, okay, finally things are gonna go to normal again. All right, so I had to like just get some of this done because I was like, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so yeah, so we survived the week. Everybody tested negative on that Sunday, and we're like, okay, everybody can go back to school, everybody can go back to work, because my husband couldn't go back to work because my daughter was testing, you know, positive, and I work from home, so for me nothing changed, but except I had a house full of coworkers now. We're like, okay, great, the new week started. This has been like a shit show of the last 2 weeks. Like, hopefully the rest of this month can just be nice and smooth. So we make it till Wednesday without any issues. I'm gonna go in now with foundation. This is the new Maybelline Superstay Activewear foundation. I got the shade 310 Sun Beige. I have one, the original one, in 312 Golden Jouer, but like I feel like this one oxidizes a little, so I went down a shade, but I don't know if it's too light, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not going anywhere. We just had a blizzard, so we're all trapped in the house kind of. So we make it all the way to Wednesday without any issues. And it looks a little light. It's okay. We'll figure it out. So I have used this once, and I do believe it oxidized a little tad, but I can't remember exactly how much. So now it'll be documented. It is very thin, like can be very sheared out. Let me just read about this a little more. So it says it's up to 30 hours wear, full coverage, light as air feels, transfer resistant, seamless, matte, oil-free foundation. So the color is not the worst. We make it till Wednesday, and then I get a call from the school nurse again. And I'm like, oh God, please don't tell me that somebody tested positive again. Nope, she tells me, your son, this is my 8-year-old, he just turned 8 in November. But he likes to say he's almost 10, so that my 8-year-old fell asleep in the school hallway. And the teacher brought him to the nurse because obviously she can't have him in the class like that. So I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how was he that tired? Like, he literally just did a timeout before he left the house because he was acting so hyper that he was trying to leave the house without his backpack, and he had his shoes on, and then he took them off when we were about to leave the house, and we're like, why are you taking your shoes off? So like, just kind of being difficult in the morning, and we could just tell he just didn't want to go to school. And I'm like, these kids had too many days off. They had too many days off and they don't want to go to school. So that's like my mindset. I'm like, okay. The nurse is like, I'm gonna let him take a 20-minute nap here in the in my office, and then I'll send him back to class. I'm like, okay. And an hour goes by and I'm sitting at my desk working, you know. I don't know that this is like full coverage. I would say it's more medium coverage. You could probably build it up to full coverage, but because of the match not being much of a match, I don't want to add any more to it. And I honestly wouldn't wear much more. It does feel matte. I don't see any like dewiness really from the primer, even though it had like a radiance. I also picked up the concealer in the shade 30 because that's the shade that I wear in the other Super Stay concealer, which is actually one of my all-time favorite concealers because I don't have to set it. It's like a more of a soft matte. But this also says that it can be worn up to 30 hours. It's supposed to be a lightweight concealer. So let's try this out. I have used this one time as well. Not together though. I haven't used it with the foundation. So it looks a little bit more yellow than the foundation. So the principal emails me within the hour saying, we'd like to meet with you regarding your son. And I'm like, great. We're gonna fucking meet with the principal. This is the first time with my 3 kids that I had to like meet with a principal. My husband is going away next week on business, so we're like, my husband's like, well, I want to be there, I want to know what's going on, so like, let's see if we can get in this week to meet with her. So we scheduled to meet with the principal for Thursday, and as soon as my son comes home, I'm like, bro, what happened? Why are you sleeping? I'm gonna add a little bit more. It doesn't seem like it's very full coverage. It is super lightweight. So I'm like, what happened at school? Like, why were you sleeping in class? And he's like, well, Daddy said if I wake up in the night, I can just watch TV, which is not what my husband said. My son likes to get up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and my husband likes to sleep in a little more. So he'll tell my son, like, if you get up and it's not time for all of us to get up yet, you can watch a little TV. I always disagree with that. We always have an argument because I feel like personally, when I allow them to watch TV in the morning, they don't want to get ready because it's like they, you know, interrupting their show is a whole issue. Also, if they're watching something that's like kind of hyped up, they want to act crazy. They want to act like those cartoons in the morning, and I don't have the patience for it. So we always disagree on that. So apparently my son took that to the next level. I don't think I like this concealer because I have dark under eyes because I have children and nightmares, and this is, I've already layered it twice and I can still see a little bit, and I don't, yeah, and it's matte, so I want to like set the under eye to like brighten it a little bit, but I'm nervous it's gonna get creepy. So what my son tells me is that he got up in the middle of the night and he went to his computer in his room, that my husband was not aware that my son knows how to find YouTube on the computer. So my son decided to go on the World Wide Web and pull up YouTube and watch, was that NVTver guy and his crazy like obnoxious videos all night long. He sat up, not laying in bed watching TV to fall back asleep. No, he's sitting up at a desk watching YouTube for like 6 hours straight. And when I called him to come down in the morning and get ready for school, he pretended that he hadn't been up. These kids. I feel like I took some shadow off right there with the concealer. Where did I put that palette? Oh, there it is. And in the morning when I called him down, he knew what he was doing. He pretended he wasn't doing that, got dressed, and let us bring him to school, and then he was exhausted and decided to lay on the floor. So we talked to the principal, and of course, like, yeah, so we apologized to the principal and to the teacher for what had happened and explained that we changed all the passwords on the computers and all that nonsense. So I think I'm gonna take this one here. It's called Rosy Posy, and just tap that in the center because I just feel like doing a little bit more. We have that meeting, and then I'm like, I can't wait for the weekend. Don't you fucking know we had like a huge blizzard yesterday. This bunny is making me crazy. So we're stuck in the house all weekend, and I'm not mad about it, but it's just like, can we get a break? Can we get a break? Bronzer. I picked up this. I've used it once. This is the Essence Sun Club Luminous Bronzing Powder. I think it's interesting on here to note that this says medium tone. I'm gonna grab the other one. So I grabbed the other one that I bought, which is their matte bronzer, and this says dark tone. And I'm gonna show them to you side by side because obviously they got their shades mixed up. So this says dark and this says medium. Yeah, so we're gonna use the luminous one to test this out. But yeah, I don't know what Essence is doing, but they need to figure out their shades. I don't even know if this is gonna show up on me, honestly. We're just playing. Yeah, so it's been quite the shit show of the week, of few weeks, and I'm just hoping that next month, like, everything will kind of settle down a bit, and like spring is gonna come soon. I'm dying for the spring so the kids can like go outside and I can go outside, and I love to like sit on the deck and just relax and decompress, and I'm just dying to get back to doing that. We ordered more chickens to come in the spring as well, so we'll have a few more, And yeah, I'm excited. I'm still optimistic that 2022 is gonna be a decent year for my family. The world is against me right now. The world is against me right now. My neighbor is doing the snowblower. I'm gonna just finish and come back. So the neighbor stopped with the snowblower, and I kind of just went through with doing my makeup and fast forward through all of that because I did enough blabbing anyways. You guys are probably sick of me. I'll give you guys a kind of quick review of like my impressions of these things. So like the Maybelline foundation, it is a very matte foundation. I would say it's more a medium coverage. It's not my vibe. I don't really like a matte foundation. The color actually turned out to be okay once bronze and everything like that. The concealer, also kind of not a fan. If you don't have nightmares, children, you drink water and sleep through the night, you will probably love this because it is very lightweight, and I do like the way it sits on the skin and the way that it feels on the skin, but I don't like that it doesn't have enough coverage for me. And yeah, for that I probably won't reach for it. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. And I've used these products a couple times. They're not like a first impression. The eyeshadow palette, I'm not the hugest fan. I think the mattes took a little bit of a building to get them up, but they were okay. The mattes were okay. The shimmers, this one right here, I thought it was gonna be nicer than it actually is. It kind of feels like a little dimethicone-y. I mean, sometimes their shadows are like that, but that one I didn't like. But I do like Sunbird. That one was a little bit more sparkly and smoother. So I think it's inconsistent. It's not my favorite, but I did get a nice look out of it. It was okay and easy to use for the price point. It's all right, and the packaging is nice. I like the cardboard packaging when they do this. The mascara, this is the first time used for me. This is the Maybelline The Colossal Curl Bounce. I do kind of have curly lashes because I don't know if you know this, but like if you're a side sleeper, your lashes will curl. And I toss and turn and I side sleep a lot. So my lashes kind of already curl, but I do like how it gave them a little more volume because I have very sparse lashes. We'll see if it like crumbles or kind of transfers, but so far I like it. It's a little bit of a drier formula, so I feel like this wouldn't last very long. It'll likely dry out quick. This was the first time I used my Rudolph highlighter, and this is like not the normal Super Shock formula, which I'm surprised. It felt very crumbly and dry. It looked kind of dry on the skin. I don't know if it was just the brush that I was using, but I didn't love the way it applied, so I ended up going over it with, what other highlight was that? The Tinkerbell Happy Thoughts Super Shock. This is in, yeah, Happy Thoughts is the shade name. I went in with this one and I feel like that saved the look, and I really like that. The luminous bronzer from Essence, it's okay. I'll probably never use this. So yeah, and this is the darker one, which says it's for medium tone. So I don't know. I don't love that. It's all right. And then I did like the Catrice, what do they call this? The blush box. It's a waterproof, sweat-proof blush. This one is in the shade Berry. I like it, but I feel like it might fade quick. So I'm not sure if I would hold on to it. Let's see, what else did I use? I do like this Revlon Primer Plus. I feel like it doesn't do too much, so it's like not my favorite, but it's not a bad product by any means. I don't know about the claims that says it's brightening and skin tone evening. Maybe brightening because it has like that yellow tint to it, but like skin tone evening, I don't know about that. That's a whole nother thing. For brows, I just use stuff that I'm like normally used to. So the NYX Lift and Snatch, I love this, and I used the brow glue. I don't like this. I'm just trying to use it up, and we're almost there, so happy about that. And then who remembers these? Like, this is the NYX Liquid Suede lipstick. I'm wearing, which one did I use? This one, Sandstorm. And I remember being obsessed with these and like having every color, like blue, gray, all the different colors. So earlier in the month when I made an order to get the Amethyst palette from Ulta, I put this in the cart, and I'm so happy I did, because for a matte lipstick, these are so comfortable and they just go on really nice and evenly. And yeah, I'm excited. It looks really cute with this look, so I'm happy. There's some hits and misses, but overall I think I look okay today, and I have no plans. Well, maybe we'll go to Walmart to get out of the house, and like if we can dig ourselves out of the snow. But thank you guys if you hung out this far in the video. I really do appreciate you hanging out with me. I know this video was like a hot mess express, but thank you. I appreciate you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. I'll try not to torture you guys again like this. And until next time, thanks for hanging out. Bye.